OnePlus 8 Pro landed in our labs, well, in my home for that matter, and I've been using it as my primary device for about a week now, and here's our review. We've broken down this review into different segments and the timestamps are given in the description below, so you can quickly jump to the segment that you want to watch for now. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that bell icon to stay up to date with our content. Now let's begin. The OnePlus 8 Pro is exquisitely built, and it also finally comes with an official ingress rating and support for wireless charging. Holding it, it feels like it belongs right up there with the iPhones in the Galaxy S20 series. It's also much lighter and slimmer than the OnePlus 7T Pro before this. OnePlus is using a sharply curved display on the front, which covers 90% of the screen, and it looks good when you're in the lock screen or in the home screen. But notice how the edges show vastly different colors as compared to the flat areas. That's one big complaint. But I did like the colors of this display, and at QHD+ resolution with 120Hz turned on, it looks gorgeous. Now this is also the best smartphone that I have used so far this year in terms of the overall experience, and a big reason for that claim is the software that the phone runs on, which is OxygenOS 10.5 UI. It's just so smooth and slick at the highest display settings, which is QHD+ at 120Hz, that it simply feels far more refined and responsive than any other smartphone out there right now. And using the app drawer is actually equivalent to using a fidget spinner, which I can do it all day long. Yet OnePlus sticks to its history of shipping devices that are still very much a work in progress as review units. The software is also riddled with a lot of bugs, and the most annoying is when everything just freezes, especially when I'm browsing Instagram stories or scrolling down a website. And it's something that's apparently bugging the OnePlus 8 community as well, going by the chatter on the OnePlus 8 forums. I also found the dark mode sometimes invert photos that have a black or grey background, especially on WhatsApp. The OnePlus 8 Pro also couldn't beat the other Snapdragon 865 powered smartphones this year, even the more affordable OnePlus 8. But there's not a big difference to talk about, so we'll chalk it out as a margin of variance that's expected from these benchmarks. But this one also heats up like crazy when I am out using the phone outdoors. I was taking camera samples one afternoon with the smartphone when I got a phone overheating notification, but thankfully it returned to normalcy the moment I stepped indoors in my building. I also clocked in around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time on the OnePlus 8 Pro at the highest display settings, but on days when I was constantly on the phone, screen on time went down to around 4.5 to 5 hours, which is good enough considering all the tech that's packed into this display. But if I have to really use it for throughout the day without having to plug it in, I would recommend that you dial down the resolution and use it in Full HD+, which will extend the screen on time by an hour or so. Now, watching movies and playing games are some of the best experience on this device, especially the latter. The touch response is quick enough for me to get quick headshots in COD Mobile, and the superior color reproduction makes games look really good. We clocked 60 FPS on both PUBG Mobile and COD Mobile, but the stability wasn't at 100% in either of our sessions, but it was close enough. The OnePlus 8 Pro was also using the prime core of the CPU a lot more for PUBG Mobile than it was for COD Mobile. Now about the camera, it's great that OnePlus has included a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera into the mix, along with another 48 megapixel primary camera. And the latter is simply the best we have seen on a OnePlus device so far. There's also an 8 megapixel telephoto camera and a color filter lens, which was disabled in our units because it apparently can see through plastic and even people's clothes. And by the reports I've read, it seems to be an inherent nature of the filter to do so. So I'm waiting to see how OnePlus can get around it and enable it for users in a future update. Now the images from the camera come out fairly sharp and detailed. The dynamic range is also quite on point. But notice how the photos tend to highlight the color blue a lot more than others. I'm not alone in noticing that, and it likely needs further tuning. What really impressed me was the 48 megapixel ultra-wide lens. It produces the most details from an ultra-wide camera on a smartphone, and with superior dynamic range, which basically addresses all the issues most ultra-wide lenses on Android phones suffer from. No complaints here. Let's move on. The 8MP telephoto lens is the weakest link in this setup. It can't produce as much details as other lenses, but just about average. The macro mode was more impressive. I could get a crisp, detailed macro shot at 12 megapixel resolution, which is perfect for sharing on social media. But then again, videos are where the OnePlus 8 Pro can't match up to the premium offerings or even its counterparts. There's noticeable noise in the details, it has difficulty gaining and locking focus, and overall, it's a terrible experience right now. Now summing up, the OnePlus 8 Pro ticks all the boxes of a premium flagships, and if not for an inconsistent camera, this one could have actually given a good run for the money to the Samsung S20s and the iPhones in this segment. But if you can look past it, the OnePlus 8 Pro actually delivers the slickest Android experience on a smartphone right now. So that was our review of the OnePlus 8 Pro, and if you agree with us or have something more to add to it, do so in the comment section below. We actually love the comments that you guys leave in our videos, and I'm looking forward to some good engagement and interaction for this one in our comment section. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that bell icon and stay up to date with our videos. Thanks for watching.